to draw a circle, and then below it, about halfway or just over halfway, and about from 2/3 of the way down of the circle to equal triangle you're adding here. So 2/3, so that would be another 2/3 of the way down. You just draw a triangle, or simply you're just drawing a circle and putting a triangle in, so you get the basic, and then your eye is going to lay somewhere above or right on where that line meets. The next one is I made a little curly cue, but all you're doing is drawing kind of a circle that doesn't meet up. So it'd be a circle and then a line down, but you're just drawing that shape, and then about halfway down, halfway and halfway, you have your basic proportions. Then here you have a more complex. It's the same exact thing as this, just more complex. You're just drawing a circle, and then you're actually adding a square. So the square from here to here is going to be about halfway. About halfway down from that initial circle is going to be that. Where that ends will be where the nose is, the brow going back. This is from here to here, just a little less than half, or about half, depending. And then you got a breakdown here. So if you cut this to this, where that is, you have that breakdown. You have the chin that goes up like that. And so you got just basically breaking it down a little bit more so you can see where everything is. Now, what you have is the very basic proportions. So all I did here is basically take your start of this one here and broke it down. So you have a circle taking up most of the circumference. And then from halfway down, from here to here, and from here to here, where the ear would begin. So as you can see in red, this, which would be almost a perfect square, would be equal from the middle of the eye to the end of the chin, is equal to the inside of where the basic meetup of the end of the mouth, the nose to the brow line all begins, to the beginning of the ear here, which would be right here. That would be, or from the blue line, where most people do it, is equal from that to the end of the nose to the middle of the eye line to the end of the chin. They are equal to give you the proportions, which would give you another square here. So depending on basically where this is right here, the end of the circle, down to the middle here and halfway. So halfway is actually here, where the eye actually begins is just below that. So the middle of the circle would be about where the brow line is, and then the chin. So what you have here, where the circle begins is about 1/3, then another third, and then another third. So you have 1, 2, 3. So the brow line to the end of the nose to just the under part or the beginning of the chin or the under part of the lips would be 1/3 distance down. But the basic measurement I wanted to show here was the middle of the eye down to the chin is equal to either the beginning of the nose or the beginning of everything there, which would give you about a 1/3 to the back of the head, or 2/3 if you're doing the middle of the eye down to the chin, from the end of the nose to where the ear begins. That is about a 2/3. So the ear will actually be to the head about a 1/3 or 2/3 of the way vertical. Now the next thing is to break it down a little bit more. So once again, you got the same basic measurements. So this, the middle of the eye down to the chin, end of the chin, is equal to the end of the nose to the beginning of the ear, which is about 2/3 across of the face to the end. Then, or you can do the inside the same. Middle of the eye to that is equal to the beginning of where everything ends or begins to the end of the ear, which makes it 1/3. Now, what you have here, these are very, very variant upon the person, but some very basic things you can take is the eye can be one of two things. The eye is going to start where the nose ends and the mouth ends, or the nose is going to be just slightly forward of the eye as I have here, and the eye will begin where the mouth ends, or the mouth could end just a little bit further, more in the middle of the eye. But if you want to take a very typical, the nose, the mouth end where the eye begins. Notice mostly that the nose actually ends about the middle of the mouth, and the mouth ends about where the eye begins. Now, the nose length, and once again, this is on a very average person. Noses, as most people know, vary a lot. But the nose length is equal to where the brow line dips in or begins to the end of the eye. So the nose length from the end of it to where it ends or begins is equal to the dip of the brow or the beginning of the brow line to the end of the eye. And then there's all kinds of things. Remember, the nose is the length, or the nose is in where the nose ends down is where the ear ends, and the brow line is where the ear begins. Now the ear actually curves up, so the ear might actually connect with the head where the middle of the eye is, or where the end of the eye is, and then loop up, and actually the top of that will be where the brow is. The middle of the mouth will actually be where the jawline curves up into more of a vertical, typically. And then you have a quick breakdown of the actual eye, the actual profile of the head, broke down into fragments. This is just to show you how, doing different things and breaking it down, it could actually look, the different measurements here of where they might meet up, where they might do, how they kind of would look in a more fragmented or structural way. Now, this is your very basic outline without doing these two things, the measurements of these two things, but just how you would break it down. So you have the brow line, so really the middle would be right here. So the brow line is about where the middle of the circle you would make here. The middle of the eye is just down just a little bit. And then the proportion, it's about 2/3 to 1/3 of the circle is where the ear would begin. So you got 1/3 of the back of the head. The neck is going to branch off from the round of the skull or the round of the head about where the nose is or the mouth is, depending on the person. The mouth is going to begin about where the end of the circle is. As you can see, it's a little bit higher, and the chin is about 1/3 of the way down from that, and 1/3 is beginning of the chin is about 1/3 of the way from that, and 1/3 there. So that's broke up into thirds. That to this is equal. So the middle of the eye to the end of the nose is equal to the end of the nose to the chin. About 1/3 of the way down is where the hairline begins, and as you can see up here, how the hairline looks. This is just a quick drawing of using exactly this right here. Just breaking it down, using this. As you can see, it's just how it could look. You're very typical. Your nose ends. Your mouth is just slightly ahead of your brow line. The inside of that is just slightly back. This is just slightly larger than, or further back than the nose. The ear is almost proportionate to 1/3. The neck curves about just before, where the nose ends. So that is your very basic breakdown of the profile and how to draw it. I hope this helped. If you would actually like me to draw it out, I will do that and show you very quickly how to do it. But for right now, this is just a quick breakdown on how to do the profile. I thank you for your time. This is Renaissance Craft.